handling your sausage is always tricky business. We ain't Linux Gamecaster experts on that, but even we were stumped by Steven's sausage roll. Developed by Increpare, aka Stephen Lavelle, on the Unity engine. It is, well, the price is a bit questionable, but we'll get to that at the end of this. We're going to see if it's really worth that 30-odd regional currency. And what is it? Well, it's a simple 3D puzzle game. And Stephen himself actually sent us some keys and called us witches because he felt that we forced him to do so. It may have had something to do with the cauldron we were all surrounding, but I doubt it. So let's kick off the chair position. Double, toil and trouble. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that's pretty good. And 4 chairs means that's something wicked. This way it comes. We also got our categories of doom. Makes it working, shiny and sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off. Then, how did this sausage roll on your system?
It did absolutely make with a rolling brothers thing. On the Ubuntu 1404 LTS, 8150 AMD powered 980 NVIDIA powered, also displayed ultimately at 4K resolution, almost kind of UHD if we're going to be honest with it. But how did it run? Well, it holds a steady 60 frames at 1080 and 2160, aka UHD. It's not really 4K. Even manages to revert back to 1080 after switching to 2160 and back. Good job. I like that. That is a bonus soda right there. However, when you're using the keyboard, it does not disable the rumble on the Xclone controller. And keep in mind, I'm not a clever man. So, when I was using the keyboard on the menu, I was hearing enter, and I was like, stop. Checking. I was like, what the fuck all was that? Back, hit enter. I was like, this is only happening when I hit enter. What moon magic is this? However, fortunately, I put 2 and 13 together, and I was like, oh, it doesn't disable that in the menu. It is disabled in the game because I did set the controller up on, the wooden desk I have here. And I was like, I really want to see this thing go middle when I get into a stage, and it didn't. A little disappointed in that. That said, since it disables it in-game and not in the menu, I'm going to call that a bug and not a feature. I'll give it 3 chairs out of the box.
Well, on the Fedora 22 powered 64-bit Intel i7 6700K with the NVIDIA GTX 980 powering the UHD monitor because Ben's all pissy about that. I ran it at 4K the entire time, did not drop below 60. So, I mean, given what we're seeing on the screen, that's not really saying much, but credit where credit is due. I'll give it 4 cheers.
Yeah, on my end, I played most of it on the Steam box, and I have absolutely no complaints. The frame rate didn't really dip to any degree that I could notice, which is especially relevant since on the Steam box, I'm running SteamOS 2.68, and it has an Athlon X4860K overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz and a GTX 750 Ti with 8 gigs of RAM. Nowadays, that's basically the minimum of what you'd call a gaming machine, and it did not dip once that I could see, so 4 chairs.
All right, that's 3 chairs for Mix with the working. Up next, the shiny and sounds. Then, how crisp was the sausage?
Well, Brad, it's not Hipster Pixel. Nay, in fact, it's Hipster Minecraft. Basically the same thing as Hipster Pixel, but with a decidedly more amount of 3 dimensions. This can make figuring out a path, with the textures and all that in your overworld just a bit challenging. But compared to the game itself, that's just easy sauce. It's going to be the least of your concerns. The sound effects, the background music, they exist, but they grow a bit hella repetitive with the quickness. And normally I would say it's a puzzle game. Just put on some Slayer. But unless you want to go fully postal, stick with something like Enya when you're playing this game to keep you a bit relaxed. Does what it says on the tin. Looks like it is supposed to. I mean, Minecraft-y-ish 3D overhead top-down view. Can't fault it for that because that's the art style it chose and it stuck with it. But, I kind of wish there was some more Enya like Zen shit right there with the puzzle solving because I could have really used it. But I'm going to give that another 3.
See, I'm of an opposite opinion. If they started blasting some Enya, I think I would have gone Postal faster, but, that's just me. I look at this game and I think, low-res sausage. Because really, that's what there is. You got the little Minecraft grass blocks, and you got the sausage, and you got the grill, and you got the water. There's not much going on here. I didn't even notice there was a soundtrack because I was staring too intently at this fucking sausage trying to get it cooked. Yeah, it works. That's really all I can say about it, so it gets the 2 chairs.
Yeah, there's really not much else I can say about it either. It's programmer art paired with elevator music. It's functional, completely inoffensive, but also nothing to write home about. As far as aesthetics go, it's functional, but completely unremarkable. So it gets 2 chairs.
I'd say if you're asking for HD graphics in your sausage game, probably barking up the wrong tree there, Brad. That's 2 chairs for shining sands.
Kind of porn.
Up next is Control. Then, did you handle your sausage well?
My sausage rumbles with a mighty fierceness. It does rumble right out of the box, and it's always surprising when the X-Clone rumbles. Usually only Ethan Lee can pull that off with like, ooh, yeah, all right. I forget that thing's in there. The X-Clone, speaking of that, worked out of the box, and that's probably the best way to play this critter. And really, that's a good thing, since you want to be as far away from anything expensive as possible. And P-Man's going to talk about some of the control things and the options, but I did read that this was initially developed on a MacBook, and I think that kind of shows with everything on Linux working out of the box. A little bit extra sauce was used in that, but I think it was used to good effect. You probably don't want to play this with a keyboard, just because you're too close to a monitor and that's too easy to punch. But with a controller, 100%, I'm going to give it the 4.
LCD,
yeah, it didn't even dawn on me
satisfying.
It didn't even really dawn on me that this thing had controller support. I was playing it with a keyboard for about an hour before I realized I haven't really solved. I was still stuck on that one puzzle. But this game will do that to you for sure. I mean, movement does take a little bit of getting used to. They have the weird turning mechanic, but it makes sense given like the rules of the game, the rules of the puzzle solving. Everything worked, and yeah, like Ben said, the PlayStation 4 controller I tested with rumbled. So, props for that. 4 chairs.
Yeah. Like I mentioned in the Steam segment in the main show, if you're not watching that, shame on you. This game doesn't use the default Unity input handler. It uses Rewired, which is a $45 asset that you can buy from the Unity Asset Store, and it will take care of input for just about every single platform ever. I'm talking my NVIDIA Shield controller worked out of the box. My Logitech F310 that's currently plugged into the Steam box worked out of the box. My Sega Saturn controller that I bought a cheap Chinese adapter for USB works out of the box. I don't know exactly how it's doing it, since it's not open source, but it does it very competently. And the CHAIRQUISITION is nothing if not a meritocracy. So 4 chairs.
Yeah, that's 4 chairs for controls. And finally, Ven, did you have fun playing with your sausage?
A subjective category, if there ever was one. Ah, yes, as it's known as the Dark Souls of puzzle games. And yes, admittedly, my brain did go, ouch. Then I threatened to stab it with a Q-tip, so it shut up for a moment. However, releasing a game with only word-of-mouth marketing and a 30 wet, stinky price tag is a bold strategy, Cotton. Granted, the price, along with a vague-ass description, got people talking about the game. Case in point. Hell, I mean, if it was $9.99, we probably wouldn't just completely pass it off as another puzzle game. Unfortunately, Brad, that's exactly what Steven Sausage Roll is. It's another puzzle game. At least, that's what my initial 80 minutes of gameplay has led me to believe. Not to say this isn't a brilliant puzzle game, because it is. It's well thought out. It is just nightmare fuel incarnate. The developer hates people, and I love it. That makes me happy. That makes the chairs happy. That is everything we stand for. And it gives you that immense sense of accomplishment for each sausage you collect. Giggity. I just said that in a review, and I love it. Hell, for all I know, Steven Sausage Roll could actually go Full Metal Frog Fractions at some point. But I don't think I'll ever find out. And if you don't know how mental Frog Fraction goes from what you initially start out with to where it ends, do yourself a favor and look it up and play it. But that is kind of the problem. Because 80 minutes in, I have a total of, this is how smart Vin is, 3 sausages. And Jordan will attest. He's seen how I've played this game throughout the week. It's start the game, 5 minutes. All right, Alt F4. Go take a break. Get away from things you can break. Come back. Play another 5-10 minutes. It's like, no. But it kept me coming back. And that's why I'm not going to give it 1 chair, even though it is a well-done puzzle platformer game. Well, platforming game.
No platforming.
Well, there
no
is. There's ladders. You can come up. Technicality, even though you're correct. Well-done puzzle game. I enjoyed it, but I kind of got the feeling that the price is more of a gimmick and versus, what it actually should be set at. And I'm definitely one of those people who agree that a lot of indie titles are underpriced. Just because, well, that's just what the market will bear. And it's like, yeah, this is one of the cases where I think it's overpriced. I'm not going to give it 1 chair because it did. Like I said, it kept me coming back, and that takes quite a lot. So you're going to get 2 chairs.
Fuck, this game is hard. And I'm awful at these fucking spatial reasoning puzzles. I literally played for like a good hour before I broke down and cheated on my first puzzle. Found the solution. I'm like, okay, this is the mode of thinking I actually need to be in order to solve this puzzle. And I solved another 6 puzzles on my own, collecting I think it was 16 sausages or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm 1 behind Pedro, which kind of pissed me off. I wasn't able to collect that last sausage to at least tie him. Pedro has walked away as the sausage master this time around. But
sausage commander.
The sausage
I
master.
am the sausage commander.
So like I'm sitting here playing this game, and roommate walks in and he's like, "What the fuck is this game?" It's Steven Sausage Roll, and he's like, "Oh, you're dumb. Let me try this." And then he spends half an hour staring at it. He manages to get all the sausages cooked, but that's not enough, because you need to cook all the sausages and make it back to your starting point without overcooking them. Otherwise, you lose, and that's a real fast way to fuck yourself over and have to restart the puzzle. I mean, the rules are very simple. You can move the sausage only a certain number of. You can move it over the grill only 2 times or only once on like per uncooked side, and you can cook half sides. So there's some wiggle room there. But holy shit, there is some depth, and you will you will be staring at these puzzles for the better part of like 30-40 minutes, just racking your brain trying to figure out a way to solve it. Is this game worth $35? We're gonna get to that a little bit more in depth at the final thoughts section. But yeah, in short, if you're into puzzle games, this will certainly give you a run for your money. I'll give it 2 chairs.
Yeah, this is the kind of game that you sit down on a couch with just to exercise nothing but your neurons. Careful though, you might tie a knot in your gray matter, because it happened to me a couple of times. This is the epitome of a game that focuses on mechanics. And I keep bringing up like mechanics and story in the fun section, so I might as well explain. The way I see it, at their core, video games can be divided into aesthetics, that's sound and graphics, narrative, which is divided between the story that the devs built into the game and the narrative your character plays through due to your own actions as a player, and mechanics, which is how you interact with the game. Like I've mentioned before, mechanics, in my opinion, rule supreme. In fact, if a game has its narrative and aesthetics developed around the mechanics, it's bound to be a game I'll enjoy very much. Take your Half-Life 2s, your Dark Souls, your Silent Hill 2s, so on and so forth. Steven Sausage Roll is almost utopian as a video game. The aesthetics are simple. It's programmer art and developer music, as I've already mentioned. It's about as non-aesthetic as you can get. The only narrative to be had is the one that you, the player, create for yourself, which is, well, it's whatever you come up with. Why is this character so obsessed with making sure all of these sausages are evenly cooked? The only thing this game has any complexity to is in how the mechanics allow you to progress through the game. You may make the argument that without even a semblance of story, you don't have a motivation to keep progressing through the game. And to you, I say there's a shit ton of people playing Minecraft right now. And seeing as I like mechanics over everything else in games, 3 chairs. It doesn't get 4 because it tends to burn me out along with the sausages you're pushing and rolling in game. So, yeah.
Well, you know what they say. Cut off 1 sausage and 2 sausages will take its place. All right, so that's 2 chairs for fun. And that tallies up to a 2-chair game for Steven's Sausage Roll. Gentlemen, final thoughts. I guess I'll start this one off. Is this game worth $30? Well, honestly, I can't give you a straight answer to that. I honestly don't know. If you like puzzle games and you're into really, really challenging puzzles, then I can totally see someone paying $35 and getting their $35 worth of enjoyment out of this game. That is totally a thing that can happen. For people who are not into it, not so much. You're going to be staring at a screen. You're going to be staring at your sausage for the better part of an hour, just kind of playing with it. And I can do that without sitting in front of a computer. Although where's the fun in that, if you think about it?
Yeah, 28 euros is a hard sell. I can see why The Witness got as good as a reception as it did, regardless of the $40 price tag. There are a lot of people like me out there, and if Jonathan Blow ever decides to stop being a douche and make Linux port of The Witness, I'll be very glad to play that. But that's just as I was glad to see such a simple concept of a game hook me for hours of failure after failure. Steven's Sausage Roll is a damn good puzzle game, but that's all it is. Is that worth $30 to you?
I don't know. I mean, for me, this game suffers what I like to call the solar-powered laptop during a zombie apocalypse scenario. Under that scenario, I would gladly shell out 30 wet stinky cashes for it because I probably would never beat it before I was eaten to death, and that would be a good thing. However, no zombies. So we get a little bit of a problem with paying 30 wet stinky cashes for that.
Well,
now,
I mean, what if it's the sausage apocalypse?
Think of that'd just be hot, Brad. All right.
Giggity.
I'm just saying. I mean, you think developer was good enough to send us keys, even though he called us witches. But, then again, Square Enix sends us keys. Feral sends us keys. And everybody else, and they don't call us witches, but we actually want to put your quote on a t-shirt. So we like you more for that. You get bonus points for that. What the game is, if that's all there is to the game, and, I was reading through the discussions on, the Steam forums discussion group, and I was like, you got a good sense of humor about it. You know what it is, and a couple of people who have reviewed it gotta say what we said. I mean, it's not impossible. It's a brilliantly done game. It will make you say cussy things and have a good time with it. I mean, we've not really legitimately knocked the game at any point. The only thing we have in that Steam discussion group, there is a sub forum just for the price about it. Which again,
you totally missed a knocking your sausage joke, by the way, or knackwurst.
Got anything else you want me to finish this?
I'm done. Go.
I mean, are you sure?
I'm good. Go.
Okay. I just want to make sure you got it out of your system. Dumbass.
Knackwurst.
At the end of the day, Hey, man, you did it for whatever reason. Little description, stupidly fun game, ridiculously overpriced, and I look forward for everyone else picking it up in a humble bundle.
Indeed. Okay, I think I may have broke Pedro with that last one.